Time Richmond.
7:33 here on Richmond's Morning News. My name is Rich Herrera. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll keep an eye on what's going on in D.C. The president said that Iran is taking too long. They continue to drag out these negotiations, and after shooting down the Apache helicopter, he's ready to, and says, quote, he's telling Fox News he's close on ordering new strikes against Iran. We'll keep an eye on this breaking news all morning long. I do have a scheduled guest, though, that I think this is important for us to talk about. Vaughn, can you do me a favor real quick? I'm sorry, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. We got a story in there about a Pepsi truck. If you just look in my list of sound, there's a story about a Pepsi truck that's an autonomous driving truck. This scares the heck out of so many different people. AI is doing so many different things. I embrace AI. I use it a lot. I think it's a tool. My feeling on this is either learn to use AI, or one day AI will learn to use me. There are people that are out there on the cutting edge, and I want to have every tool that I can to create things for this radio show, content in my daily life. But when I see things like this truck from PepsiCo has no driver. It's controlled by AI. Take a listen.
Trucks full of snacks and drinks are being driven around with no one behind the wheel. PepsiCo is sharing details of its partnership with autonomous trucking and delivery company Gatik, as of now using 41 of its driverless trucks, 35 in Arizona, 5 in Texas, 1 in Arkansas. The company tells the Wall Street Journal the runs without backup drivers started last June, with no accidents on public roads so far and better on-time records than humans. Some trucks deliver from manufacturing plants to warehouses, others from warehouses to stores, where PepsiCo employees show up to unload. The plan is to hire fewer drivers as the program expands. The Teamsters Union has lobbied in several states to require trained human operators in autonomous delivery vehicles. Chris Foster, Fox News.
Things like that scare you. Couple reasons why. Will it cost somebody a job one day? And what happens if there's a glitch? We've seen this with Waymo cars, where you have Waymo cars showing up in one neighborhood because they can't get their GPS coordinates. How many times has your GPS failed? And they're driving around in circles. This is kind of scary for a lot of people. One of the big questions is, will AI gain consciousness, become a sentient being? And that's the biggest scary thing for most people, I think. So let's go out and discuss this right now with Stephen Martin. He's a local writer. When I say he's a local writer, he's an award-winning writer, numerous books. He has a new book out, More Than the Machines. It's gotten 4.5-star reviews on Amazon. You can get it everywhere. He talks about whether these machines will become conscious and not rely on human beings. And he's joining us right now on News Radio WRVA. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Rich. Good to talk to you.
Well, you just heard that little soundbite that I think encapsulates what scares everyone about AI, an autonomous driving truck that's going to take away a human's job, and you're going to have to depend on that truck driving on the same road as you and your kids on their way to school, that it doesn't have a glitch and run you off the road or do something even worse. What are your thoughts when you hear a story like that?
Well, it is scary because I've done a lot of research, Rich, on this whole subject of consciousness and whether or not AI can become conscious. And of course, my book, More Than Machines, that's what it's about. We are more than machines because we are conscious. I do not believe that AI will ever become conscious. The reason being that science has not figured out how we are conscious. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. Science today measures things that are physical, that have depth, height, width, weight, location. Of course, consciousness has none of that. And so they haven't figured out how the brain creates consciousness, and I believe it's because the brain doesn't create consciousness.
Okay, so hold on. Let me jump in here with you. What's the difference between consciousness and what we have now, which is artificial intelligence?
Well, intelligence and consciousness are two different things. Intelligence is information and prediction and things that AI can do, but AI doesn't think. It doesn't know what it's saying, really. It's a predictive machine. That's part of the definition of Chat GPT prediction, and it doesn't have any sense of judgment. It doesn't fear. It doesn't love. It doesn't have a sense of purpose.
It doesn't have emotions.
It doesn't have emotions. It's just sending out information based on a huge amount of data that it draws from and information that it draws from on the internet that it's been trained on.
So
it's like a pocket calculator. It's calculating and it's sending out the information. And no matter how sophisticated you make a pocket calculator, it's never going to be aware or think or have judgment or feelings or love or a sense of purpose or anything like that.
Author Stephen Martin joining us right now on News Radio WRVA. He's got a book called More Than the Machines. He did a lot of research into this. So I treat AI, and you and I have talked about this off air, I treat AI like a 5-year-old. 5-year-old doesn't have that idea of what's right, what's wrong, what's safe, what's dangerous. So I put guardrails. When I use ChatGPT and other AIs, I put on guardrails. I said, go find, let's use this to do research the same way I would with Google. And I say, you know what? Here's the trusted sources we have. Don't go out and do this. Don't go out and do that. The interesting thing, though, Stephen, and if you can touch on this, a lot of people are using ChatGPT. A lot of people are afraid of ChatGPT. But I bet you not many people understand what the GPT stands for in ChatGPT. Explain.
Yeah, GPT, what it stands for. It stands for generative, which means that it's sending out. It's going to send out information. It stands for what is the
generative?
Predictive.
Yeah.
Generative, predictive, transformative. So
transformative. Okay.
Generating information is predicting what word comes next, so that it puts it all in order. And the last thing, the T, is really the information system, the program, the software that it runs on. So
it tells you what you want to hear, basically.
Generative pre-trained transformer, I guess, is what those generative GPT mean.
And we've heard so much about algorithms, but we talked to Admiral Trey Whitworth, retired U.S. Navy, and we talked more about models. Algorithm is what goes into the model. And I think I shared with you when I worked in Major League Baseball, we had our own models every day that did predictive analytics. So, folks, I'll give you an example. I've talked about this in the air before, Stephen. If you ever notice, Amazon will send you a little notice of something you need before you even know that you need it. Like, oh, we need more detergent. We need this. We need that. Oh, it's going to get warm. You'll need these shoes. You're going to need these sunglasses. Amazon will broker all the information they can, and they build a model of a Rich and a Steven, and they use their AI to predict what we're going to need next. They send you that message, and they remind you you need this before you even remember that you needed it.
That's right. Well, and that's AI. It doesn't think, oh, gee whiz, I hope that Rich doesn't run out of this, so I'd better let him know. It's just predicting based on the data that it has been programmed with.
What do you think scares people the most about AI?
I think the most, I read a quote in the Wall Street Journal not long ago from a really high-ranking CEO who said that he believes that AI will replace about half of all white-collar jobs. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, because I think AI would have to become conscious in order to do that, because it needs people like you putting the guardrails up. But people are worried about that. They're worried about losing their job. And I think that if all you do is input information and do research for others, that kind of job is in danger. And certainly any kind of information job is going to be probably need fewer people, because it's going to generate information so quickly. Gosh, I can upload a manuscript of one of my books, and it'll come back with a summary of that book in about 3 seconds. But we're still going to need people that have judgment, who have wisdom, who can decide what really matters. And AI can't do that, but people are worried about their jobs.
I think that's it. I mean, you've seen all of these graduation speakers at colleges around the country. And if anybody brings up AI, these kids are booing and in a lot of ways. And we only have about a minute here, so I can't go that far down the rabbit hole with you, although we're going to bring you back on because I think this is a longer conversation we need to have, is that I almost feel like people are being Luddites. And it's a word that Bill O'Reilly uses, Luddites. It's when you had the Industrial Revolution, you had people that were so afraid of the Industrial Revolution taking their jobs, people that made buggy whips and things like that. They would sabotage the new technology so it wouldn't take their jobs. And I almost feel like we're at that point right now because people don't understand. They don't know what it is. And when you're scared, when you don't know what it is, that's when you get scared. And I have so many people that are just so anti-AI that they're going to put their head in the ground, hope it goes away. But I'm going to tell you this, everyone else around the world is developing this. And if the U.S. falls behind, China, Russia, and other countries will not have our best interest. If they get a foothold and get ahead of us in the AI race, it could change the balance of power in the world.
Well, I think you're right. And that's, the kids that coming out of college, it probably will affect the number of entry-level jobs to a certain extent. But I think in the long run, it's going to be like the Industrial Revolution. Jobs are going to change. We're going to go through a period of transformation, and it's going to be difficult for some people. Some people probably will lose their jobs, but I think when we come out the other end, it's going to be a good thing. And I use it. I use it all the time for my research for my books, and it's great. But you're right. You have to check to see whether it's really giving you the right information. It's like that 5-year-old. That's a really good analogy, Rich.
I'll leave you with this. I had a younger sports talk show host, probably about probably 10 years ago. He was a smart aleck. And he said, "Hey, Rich, let me ask you a question." I said, "Sure." And he goes, "What did you do before the internet to do research to learn about teams and sports?" I thought it was an honest question. So I said, "Oh, what I used to do was I had a friend who was a flight attendant, and she would fly around the country. And when she'd come back after a couple of days, I'd ask her to grab me the sports pages of the different stops she had. So she'd bring me back a Boston Globe and a New York Times, and she'd bring me back all of these newspapers that were a day old, but I had them before anybody else had them." And then he laughed. He goes, "You're old because you did this job before the internet." And I'm like, "Shut up, kid." And I wanted to smack him, but you know what? It's a pretty amazing time if you think about the technology changes that we've seen from Stephen. You remember when you first got a Pong and you thought it was the greatest thing in the whole wide world to where we are now? It is amazing.
It is amazing. That's right.
Yeah, it's an amazing time. Now I feel like we're at Disney World going through the carousel of progress, but this is awfully interesting stuff to talk about. We're going to do this again, I promise.
Okay, very good.
Oh, by the way, people want to read your book or find out more, where can they go?
Yeah, go to my website. It's shmartin, shmartin.com, and the book's right there on my homepage. You can click on it, find out more, buy it if you want, and I'd love for you to for people to come to and you can send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. So shmartin.com.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Today's program is brought to you in part by Pearson Signature Dealerships. They've been around for 50 years. Think of all the technology changes they've seen. But there's one thing that stays steady at Pearson Signature Dealerships is they take care of their customers. They've got that Pearson promise. Listen, we talk about it all the time, but there's a reason why you should talk about it, because not all car dealers are the same. How many times have you gone to buy a car and they go, "Oh, we're going to be best friends. Oh, we're going to be best buddies. Let me get you a soda." And then you go back in after you purchase the car and go, "Hey, can I get a cup of water?" No. It happens, right? But at Pearson Signature Dealerships, they do things looking out for the long term. They want you to be a customer for life. So they take care of you like they want you to be a customer for life. And it starts with that Pearson promise that they double the engine and transmission warranty. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to negotiate for it. You don't have to pay for it. They do it automatically. That's their commitment to show you, listen, before, during, and after the sale, we're going to be here for you. That's Pearson Signature Dealerships. Find out more. Go to buypearson.com. That's buypearson.